We're going to get started in just a moment. I'd like to introduce Mayor Mike Duggan.
Well, good morning. We continue to push snow in the city as the record temperatures and snowfalls continue. And as we go along, we're trying to refine what we're doing. We want to bring a standard of accountability to customer service in the city of Detroit that has not been here before. And I think by now, as all Detroiters know, if we get more than 6 inches of snow, we call out our 3 contractors who plow the 1,880 miles of residential streets in this city. And their job is to plow basically a 10-foot path through. You are responsible as a citizen for getting your driveway to the street, but at least we get the streets cleared. Now I want to go to the next step, which is I want to make sure that the citizens of Detroit and the city government are working together to make sure that we get accountability. And so the contractors are reporting that they are finishing up the last of the streets this morning. And so what we are asking, we've got DPW inspectors on the road. They're doing a good job. But as we learned the last time, sometimes some streets get missed. And so we want to make it easy for citizens to let us know how our contractors did, and if they missed a spot, these folks are going to get right back out there, right? And so what we are doing is we've teamed with the Ombudsman, Doreen Brown, and if by noon your block has not had a path clear down the middle of the street, call 313-224-6000, and the Ombudsman will take that call, we'll immediately forward it to DPW, and we will get a contractor out in the next 2 or 3 hours, and they will get your street. This isn't a call to say my driveway's covered, because that happens everywhere with a plow. The question is, did they get down their street? If you would like to email the DPW directly, you can go to the www.detroitmi.gov website. There is a complaint form on the site, and Ron Brundage, our DPW director, is going to be standing by to get those complaints, and he will also dispatch the cars. We have a lot to do here to set up a system, ultimately a 311 system, where the residents of this city can communicate with government and we can respond to complaints on a quick and timely basis. And sometime this summer, we'll start to get to a full-blown complaint system. But right now, we want to do something quickly to prove that we can respond. So if your street's not plowed by noon, call Doreen Brown, 224-6000, or email Ron Brundage on the website. Go to the Detroit MI website and file a complaint, and we will come out and respond. And with that, I'll turn it over to the Ombudsman, who's going to talk about how we are partnering to get this done. Doreen?
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Office of the Ombudsman is pleased to partner with the Mayor's Office in order to handle the complaints and provide the services that the Mayor has promised. So what we will be doing is answering our phones from 8:30 until 8, starting on Monday, starting today, actually. So again, you want to call 313-224-6000. Please be really specific when you call our office. That means that we would need your address and your street. And that will help us to get the information to the appropriate departments so that you can get the relief that you need. Thank you.
And I want to once again thank the men and women of the DPW who have been out for the last 5 weeks almost around the clock, and also the mechanics in the General Services Department who have been keeping our vehicles on the road, both the salt trucks and the garbage trucks, which are always challenged by this. The team has really done a fine job given the constraints we've been under, and I'm really proud of our employees. And with that, we'll take any questions.
Mayor Duggan, we've been getting a lot of calls from viewers who have been frustrated with the way that the system has been in place before. Specifically, one viewer who says that they live on Rutherford between 7 Mile and Outer Drive. They said that their area has been plowed all winter long. That's an area that if they call today, you can get somebody out there in 2 to 3 hours?
Yes, that's exactly the point. And what triggered this was after the last time we did this, I think it was my first week at the job, we had 12 inches come down, and we announced that the contractors had completed it. Somebody was really resourceful and got my personal email and sent me an anonymous email saying, you ought to tell the truth, you didn't really do the roads. And I emailed them back, and I said, where do you live? And he says, I'm on Golden Gate between Woodward and the railroad track. 2 hours later, he emailed me back, and he said, they came and plowed my street, first time ever. And what that said to me is, this guy was extraordinarily resourceful who found my personal email. But I said, really came to understand the next time, I want to make it really easy. If there is an odd street like Rutherford that for some reason our patterns haven't picked up, and we only call the contractors a couple of times a year, so it's not like they're doing this every week. You can see how a street can get missed. And so we're saying to the people now, I know some of you, the TV stations want to be to the rescue and solve this, and that's okay if you want to do that, but if you want to skip that, you can call the ombudsperson's office. We'll be out in 2 or 3 hours. And if we're not, you'll put us on TV.
So they call that number first,
yes.
And they can also do the email, and then your personal email is?
You know what? We are setting one of those up right now.
All right, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
The contractors are handling the tertiary streets, the residential streets. Do they handle the primary and secondary corridors that run east and west?
No.
Well,
Ron Brundage and the DPW do the great majority of the primary streets. There are some streets like Woodward that are state roads. There are some streets like Outer Drive that are county roads. And so there's a combination, but the great majority of the thoroughfares are done by our own workers, our DPW trucks. You'll see the City of Detroit label on the trucks on the main streets.
Okay, now the reason I ask is there is a mile-long strip of Kirchable between Connor and Alter, which hasn't been touched at all.
Ron?
And customers and neighborhood people were wondering, what's up?
Okay, Kirchhoff, it is a primary road. It is one of our, because it's not really heavily traveled relative to some of the other major thoroughfares. It's not the first priority street, but Kirchhoff will be done today.
Okay. So, Ron just sent somebody out, but you make a good point, because if there are stretches of thoroughfares that haven't been touched, we can get a note on that. Now, people need to be realistic. I don't know if you've seen this, but you've had huge traffic accidents in suburbs all over this region. It's not like the city of Detroit is in a different situation than others. But if we got places that you missed, that's why the Ombudsman's number's there, and that's why Mr. Brundage's complaint process is on the website.
What's your salt reserve looking like?
I'm sorry?
Salt
Is the salt gonna hold
reserve.
up?
Oh, no, we're fine with salt.
You have plenty of salt?
Right now, we've got about 14,000 tons in inventory, and we're getting deliveries every day.
What about on the weekends? We've seen some of our heaviest snowfalls, especially this past weekend. I heard that it was open from 8 in the morning until 8, that phone number that people can call. How do we ensure that we can get people out on the weekend?
Again, right now, the crews have finished up from the 6-inch plus snowfall we just had. And so what we're saying right now is you should call by the end of the day today if we haven't gotten your street by 8 o'clock tonight. You can email on the complaint form anytime, but we don't have the process in place, but there's no reason to. If we haven't gotten your street today, call today.
No, but when we get snowfall on a Saturday or a Sunday, by noon, the street's not plowed.
Right. So again, here's what normally happens, is if we call the crews out because of a blizzard on Sunday, they have 24 hours from the time we call them out to clear the residential streets. And our inspectors go out and satisfy ourselves they've gotten the vast majority. And so there will be a lead time before we do this again if another blizzard hits this weekend.
All right, there's another question that I have as well, and that is the pile of snow from businesses clearing their parking lots.
Right.
The piles have gotten so high, and they've encroached into the roadway where people can't get down into their streets. What will happen with that?
Part of our process, first of all, let me back up. Private business owners, when they clear their private parking lots, the snow that they pile up, they're actually responsible for either storing that snow on their private property or hauling it away. They're not supposed to push the snow into the public right of way. When that occurs, we send our environmental inspectors out to those locations to cite those individuals and to direct them to remove those snow piles.
So they use the same process?
So yeah, where does a resident call to complain about that?
You can actually, for this weekend, you can actually call my office for that particular complaint, 313-224-3901.
Let's not give out any more numbers. You know what, if again, you got a complaint, you got an ombudsperson, call that number or email on the complaint form. It'll get to the same place. We don't need to be giving out multiple numbers here, but you now know how to reach Mr. Brundage directly if any of you would like to talk to him. People need to be realistic. We just had the largest snowfall in a January in recorded history, and we started out February the same way. And so, again, I've been all over this region. There is huge snow piled up around businesses all across this region, but we will respond as best we can, but we also need to recognize the reality that you got small business owners that may not be able to pay to haul everything away. So we're going to be reasonable in the way we approach it.
Is this going to be a standing off of future snowfalls?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
you announce it?
Yes. No, this is you say, this process for taking complaints is remaining in place. This is a permanent process until we get a formal 311 system in place, because I want to be to the day when the tree is overgrown on the power line, or somebody has dumped garbage on a lot in your neighborhood, or we haven't gotten to the snow, or the water main is broken. I want to have a simple way that we can find that information quickly and respond, because way too often we're finding out about it from all of you.
It's not snow, but let's talk about the water main break earlier this morning. What's being done about that? It's turning into ice, negative degrees.
The water has been turned off, as I understand it, and the crews have been out there since early this morning. And this is just something that we're going to have to make decisions on. The water department is in the middle of a negotiation between the emergency manager and the suburbs. And this is a reflection of the problems. If the arrangement between Kevin and the suburbs doesn't take place, I am going to get deeply involved in dealing with the water department. But you know, I need to see how that comes out, because I may not end up with any authority over it. But for now, they've turned off the water. But there's no doubt we have significant problems in the water department.
How long is that area going to be closed for you?
I can answer more questions for
Go
you.
ahead. So Alexis knows the answer to that.
Okay.
Could you explain how this is a reflection of the problems in the water department? How the water...
That you have a significant deferral of capital expenses that is causing water main breaks in numbers that in my mind are not acceptable. All you got to do is look outside my office to see the repair that's been going on there for a couple of weeks. And of course, I've been completely dissatisfied with the response to running water into vacant buildings. But at the moment, you know, the emergency manager and I have divided up some responsibilities. In the event the water department stays with the city of Detroit, it is going to be something I'm going to get deeply engaged in. But right now, I'm dealing with the things I am responsible for. And right now, the failure to respond on snow is my fault, and I'm focused on that. Yes?
On a separate issue, you're having lunch with the president today. What do you hope to expect?
Well, it's, I didn't expect the invitation to lunch, I can tell you that. But I think it's great that he's coming to Michigan. I think what Debbie Stabenow accomplished in putting a bipartisan bill through in the environment in Washington is extraordinary. And so I'm glad the president's coming here. And I was surprised and honored that he invited me to lunch. And I'm looking forward to spending some time with him.
Mayor Duggan, after the snowfall, of course, comes the potholes, and traveling around certain sections of the city, it was like being in a Conestoga wagon out west, these big potholes. I mean, that's got to be your next thing on the plane.
There's going to be, when the snow all melts, there are going to be not only potholes, but you're going to see the grass grow at a very rapid rate, and we are totally into planning for both of those things, and we're just going to have to see how it goes. So you have a plan of adjustment going into the creditors. That defines how much money we have to work with. That's still in a state of flux, but I can tell you that everybody in the administration is focused now on plans on both potholes and grass cutting, and at the end of the day, we got to see how much money's in the budget and how efficiently we can operate. Right now, I want to get the snow off, and I'm sure before very long, we're going to be talking about both potholes and grass.
That water main break happened at 4:30 this morning. Why did it take so long to shut the road down?
Ask me questions about
Okay,
that.
yeah,
I've got all the answers.
All right.
In terms of your lunch with President Barack Obama, he's not speaking until 2. Where are you guys going? What are you
Yeah,
guys
you know
having
what?
for
The
lunch?
Secret Service has put me under order, so any statements that get made on where we're meeting, and I don't know what we're having, so I guess I'll find out.
But what do you plan to bring to the table in terms of what you want to talk to him other than the farm bill?
Well, I'm going to talk to the president first before I tell you what I'm going to say to him. So,
And a sneak peek of anything.
you know, you see what my themes have been all along. I'm not asking for a check. I'm not asking for a bailout. That's not me. But there is a fundamental inequality of opportunity in this country. And too many residents of the city of Detroit are being left out of the economic recovery. And I have some very specific ideas on things we can do to create opportunities for both business creation and jobs for Detroit residents. And the president, of course, talked in his State of the Union about it. I'm going to have some very concrete ideas and hope to persuade him that Detroit is a place where we can prove that we can create paths to opportunity.
Can we ask you a couple questions about the water main?
Yeah,
All right.
after he's got to
If I'm done, I'm going to go on to Lansing, and I'll let our water expert deal with the rest of it. Thank you all very much for being here.